welcome to Nigeria Now, where we discuss happenings in the country. Quite a number of events have happened from between morning till this very moment, but we love to highlight a few, and we hope that you can do well to drop your comments and your views concerning or regarding any of this issue that you feel is quite or is worthy of you to actually drop your recommendations. I am Sarah Lashidashum, and together with Rachel Tazi. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, sir.
All right, together we will be looking at some of these topics, and we would love to start by looking at the issue of security, where we're seeing that the chief of the army staff have tasked the troops concerning their duties and their responsibility regarding protecting lives and properties. And we cannot overemphasize this over and over. I think for each time we talk about security, that is the first thing we mostly say, the fact that it is the responsibility of our security agency to make sure that things are happening and to make sure that people are being protected. I mean, early in the morning when we're going through the papers, we clearly remember seeing what is happening in Zamfara, some of our troops that were being killed as well. And then successes as well as losses, what we're able to see happening. Of course, we can also talk about the killings that happened during the Christmas period in Benue and then across many other states in the country. We're seeing that even presently in the southwest, we saw the issue of the Owo killing, whereby we're seeing that Motekus are trying to see what they can do. But then here we're seeing that the chief of army staff just need to more like encourage and let the soldiers know the fact that you know what, you have a responsibility, and your responsibility is to make sure that people are protected. Now there's something he said that actually I love it, the fact that he said he is going to prioritize the welfare of the soldiers first, because without the soldiers we cannot have officers and generals. And I remember in the morning you and I were looking at some of our retirees that had to stage a protest in the finance ministry regarding their benefit. Meanwhile, on another hand, we're seeing our generals being given special treatment or SUVs, allowances worth over $20,000 and all of that. And of course, this will spike controversy because people feel other people are getting a better treatment than others. But I want us to look at the responsibility of our soldiers or our military men or our security agency. How we put it, of course, we're looking at better equipment, we're looking at better training for the soldiers so that they'll be able to fight and combat this, because of course people keep asking the questions. I mean, we're supposed to be having more sophisticated equipment, but reverse is the case, and none of that. But then here we're seeing the chief of army staff trying to encourage the soldiers as well as reminding them once more of their responsibilities and duties to Nigeria as a country.
And of course, Sele will sit down and have to ponder and ask the question, what is the duty of the Nigerian army? What is their job? What is their task? If we have the chief of army staff saying, you know what, do your duties, and then we have to first of all outline to our best understanding or to the knowledge that we have what are the duties of the army, be it the military, the navy, or the air force. And we can simply start by saying the army in every form is built for war, a superior security attack, for combat, for protection. They are designed not for civilians, but for any threat, be it terrorism, be it any attack on the country, and things that are beyond civilian activities and all of that. This we can say primarily based on our understanding are the duties of the military or the army in general. And then if we are to say, okay, let them function well, the question is, can the Nigerian army function well? Because most of the times they are to take the attack, they are to curtail, they are to stop, they are expected to strategize and do the needful. But when the Nigerian army have challenges beyond what is their duty, what is supposed to be, the question is, can they deliver? And I'll start by saying, first of all, our military army have no business, for example, at checkpoints. I know we have terrorist attacks left, right, center, but they still have no business being at checkpoints. We have different other bodies that are in charge to be able to stay and keep the roads safe. And except it gets to the point where the army must come in when the attacks are non-stop and is way above what the civilian law enforcement bodies can do, then they step in. Now, why am I saying so? When the army's attention and workforce is divided, whether we like it or not, they might not be able to carry out their duties 100%, because we do not need them at checkpoints. We do not need them in the city. We do not need them stopping cars. At some point, there was a time we had the military, being within communities and all of that. And how many are there to talk of in the first place that we have them so divided, stretched, and spread all over the country in the way that is not expected? So this will already undermine what they'll be able to do on in a lot of on a lot of level. We can put it like that. We can talk about the fundings, and all that is needed to be pumped in to our army for them to be able to perform properly. And then we can talk about that's also something that I know it is way better compared to how it was, but there's so much that needs to be done to people. It's not only what goes into their pockets, but also what is available for them to be able to combat terrorism. And we also have situations where attacks is coming to the military in their barracks. We've seen that in Kaduna recently. This is not far away. We've seen so many barracks under attack where we will have top officers being killed in barracks, and other officers and all of that. The terrorists are even coming to the military because they know they will be successful in their plan of attack. Before I go to you, Sele, to attack you, I must know that I'll be successful, or know that to some large extent I will be able to execute what I want, even if I might have some casualties. Well, in the end, is I took the war to the barrack. I was able to kill some soldiers. Whatsoever be it, at the end of the day, I have a win-win situation here as a terrorist, as a bandit, as a culprit, whatever position I stand, and all of that. Now, these are all the things I believe surrounding the army in Nigeria, and it will bring about the question: can they really perform their duties to how Nigerians expect them to? I believe the government needs to do more regarding protecting the military, the Air Force, the Navy. They are stretched, they are thin, and it's not about recruiting. Even if you recruit more, and then the army's duties is still stretched thin to beyond and above what they're expected to do, whether we like it or not, Boko Haram somewhere will be having a swell day, not because they should have it, but because the military's reach will not get to them, and they know that because they know how our system is currently operating according to security. And it's a strategy, is very intentional, and I just hope that the government is really sitting down and doing something about it. If not only will Nigerians suffer entirely, but we have our security officers at whatever cadre going to also feel the blow of the system we are currently in right now.
So just like you said, of course, we're seeing more improved equipment and a modern way of attacks and all of that. I clearly remember during the prison breaks we had in various parts of the country. And I said if only we were using possibly the modern equipment that were needed, I think we'll have been able to be sensitive to what was happening and then stop that prison break rather, that took place. So just like we said, it's one thing for the army to know their duties. It's another thing for the country to be able to give them all the backing, all the welfare, and whatever that they need to be able to carry out their duties. One thing to say, Stella, this is your duty. It's another thing for me to have all the materials, the environment conducive enough for me to carry out my responsibility and my duties. And just like you said, regarding the issue of checkpoint, meanwhile they're needed in the borders, and then people are being dealt with in Zamfara, Benue, Plateau State, various parts of the country we can keep mentioning. But we hope that with time Just like we are seeing that the chief of army staff is promising that this year, even the chief of defense staff has given his word that, you know what,
Yes.
this year we're going to put our legs down and make sure that we deal with terrorism, whatever form it is. So we look for, we're already seeing them recording success. We saw one of the chairman of the Miati Allah, many other people being arrested, those who are having something fishy. So we look forward to seeing better success being recorded by the army. And now let's take a look at the issue of unemployment in Nigeria presently. I mean, of course, a number of portals are opening right now regarding if you want to apply. I think we saw that of custom. I think I've also heard that of the Navy and many others that Air Force and the likes of, I think Air Force, I heard of that, Air Force and then custom, and then many other portals will be opening subsequently. And then now let's look at that of custom. Now we're seeing that the app the position that is vacant is less than 4,000, and the applicants that are applying are over 500,000.
Yes.
Rachel, you could see people, if I don't know when you're listening, if you're using whether commercial or around, you hear one use or the other, whether it's a secondary school graduate or it's diploma holder, HND, university, even master holders, you know, you see them coming in and out of cyber cafes right now trying to apply for custom. And then, of course, over 500,000 because of say, okay, your application has been successful. So right now is the next step forward. Now that is to tell us the rate at which unemployment is eating deep into this country. Now that's one. Secondly, it's the fact that I am hoping with all of this thing is the fact that a number of people will have to pay for that position. I've heard of someone that will say, you know what, why don't you pay 400,000 naira to get a position? And I asked myself, oh, if I'm to pay that amount of money, Rachel, how sure am I I'm going to get the job? One. Secondly, even if I get the job, how much is my pay? If I have that 400,000, did you think I wouldn't have set up a business or do something with that money rather than giving somebody? And we've seen that has been the trend for a number of years right now, not just for custom, but for people who are seeking or more like a way of securing your position. We see that going down even from getting admission to schools, even to jobs. Now look at the number of applicants that are trooping in and out, those who have applied for custom. And then we know that the people that will be getting that job hopefully will be below 4,000.
Yeah.
Now I just cannot help but wonder, Rachel, what is the country? What is the government? Of course, I know last year where we heard our government saying that there's no job anywhere, you better look for a way to create a job for yourself. And I asked, I went to school, it is the responsibility of the government to make sure that I have somewhere to work. And then even if you won't give me the job, make sure that the environment is conducive enough for me to start doing something. But looking at this number, Rachel, you know that we have a long way to go.
Seller, life is unfair, but Nigeria makes it 100 times unfair to its citizens on a lot of level. And then there is no rationale behind opening a recruitment portal exercise whatsoever and give access to over 500,000 people to register, knowing fully well that the vacancy is only for 3,000 plus people and not up to 4,000 people. Is in this same country, I can't remember which of the body, either the custom or the immigration. If I am not, I stand to be corrected, but it's one among the two, either the custom. Some few years back, in the Federal Capital Territory, invited thousands of people to come for screening exercise to be recruited just as this. And for a slot, at that time, the number was not even up to 3,000 or 4,000. And imagine having 500,000 people. Of course, there was no portal at then. So I'm imagining these 500,000 people, just somebody with their smartphone, a system at home, going to cyber cafe. Now imagine this number, this 500,000 going physically to do this application. That was a scenario at that time. And a lot of people lost their life because there was a stampede. And people lost their lives. The question is, even if you claim that you do not make money out of job recruitment, because you say, okay, we don't pay for forms, don't pay anybody asking you to bring anything and all of that. But when you open a vacancy that is limited to more than 1000% of the number that you need, you give room for exploitation. You give room for people to make money through job racketeering. You give people the opportunity to exploit Nigerians that are desperately in need of jobs. So whether we like it or not, even if you're not directly collecting money from Nigerians, you're collecting money through the back door. Because the same officers in these customs that will be telling people, if you need a job, bring this money, bring this amount, bring this money. So in the end, because of how you have decided to go about this recruitment exercise, you leave vulnerable Nigerians in the hands of people who are willing to take opportunity and extort them and take money from them through whatsoever form. And worst case, there will be people that might lose their life because they will fall into the hands of dangerous criminals who will tell them, come to this place, I can do this for you, come to that place, I can do this for them. And of course, our sense is not equal. You might not fall for that trap, someone else will fall for that trap, and all of that. Can the Nigerian government employment system do better? Absolutely yes, Sele. There is a way that you will save 500,000 Nigerians the stress of applying for a job and position that not even 10% of them will get. There is absolutely a way to think of it. But do we have a government? Do we have institutions? Do we have agencies? Do we have bodies that are willing to sit down and put in the job? You can have recruitment, shadow recruitment, that nobody will be exploited. The people you need to fill in those vacancies is going to be fair, is going to be plain, is going to be simple, but except if you're ready to put in the work to save Nigerians all the exploitation that somebody is about to go through because of what you have decided, the methods you have decided to put through a year in and year out, then it looks like we do not even want to go above the level we are as a country when it comes to everything, when it comes to job employment, when it comes to making opportunities available for citizens and all of that. So this is not a happy thing to see. A slot of just 3,000, barely 4,000, and we have over 500. At the end of the day, we might be having 1 million, and then you can see the margin keeps dropping to how many to the percentage of people who will be able to secure this job opportunity and all of that. So I just hope that someone out there is listening and saying, you know what, we need to revamp our system and the methods, the process we use for employment, because whether we like it or not, whether we accept the money directly, we make room for exploitation, and we are losing on whatsoever. There's not a win-win here. It's not give or take. No, it's just taking and taking from the Nigerian people.
You know, while we're discussing, I remember what was last year when the army were having their recruitment, where we saw about 2 or 3 candidates with fake indigene certificates.
Yes, we see all of the,
we saw that
yes.
It was there, and then I can't remember, I think that happened in Lagos, and then they were speaking Yoruba to one of it, and then he couldn't respond back. And that was where they were able to know, you know what, this person is not even an indigene of this local government that he claimed to be. And we see, just like you say, we're giving room to people to people lying. Why? Because people are desperate. People are just looking for a way. Let me just have an end meet, regardless of how much it is. Yesterday, we were looking at what is happening to our educational system, and then here today, we are looking at the issue of, and all of this boils down to the issue of unemployment. I think we saw an increase of unemployment last year, where we saw Labour coming out say they do not agree with the reports that were being brought, that unemployment rate has dropped and all of that. So we're looking for, just like you said, there is a way that the government can look into this employment, making sure that, you know what, we have the number. Of course, I know if we're having over 500,000 on the recruitment, it will still be reduced. The interview, they will still be reduced until they get the number. But at least just don't give Nigerians this hope that, you know what, subsequently I'm going to get. I mean, I clearly remember there was one of these ones I applied for, and I was excited. Okay, I'm going to be one of those uniforms, and then all of that. Then, unfortunately, but let's just say that I was not meant to be there. But a number of people are looking forward to these jobs, and we hope that something will be done. Just like we said, our concern is the fact that we don't see people getting vulnerable, falling into the hands of people that they shouldn't, because they're desperate to get this job. So let us see what the Nigerian custom is going to do about this number, and then we hope that people who deserve it to actually get it. Just like I keep saying, it should be based on merit. People who merit it, not people. Because we've seen a number of some of our, especially sensitive roles like this being given to people that have no idea how to do it. And we know how, permit me to say, the working in the custom is a very, very dedicated job.
It is with the responsibility of protecting lives and Nigerian citizens. They are also law enforcement, so it is a very sensitive job.
So we hope that the right people get the job eventually. Well, thank you so much, Rachel, for doing this.
You're welcome, Sally.
As well, thank you to our viewers, the entire production crew, and every other person. We look forward again to doing this together tomorrow. So do have a great day ahead.